Ladies, listen closely. A man might think he knows you, your heart, your mind, your every move. But here's the truth: the moment you give him everything, the mystery dies. And when the mystery dies, so does his pursuit. Today, I'm going to tell you exactly what a woman must always keep hidden, no matter how much she loves him. Because what you protect is what keeps his respect, his effort, and his desire alive. You see, one of the biggest mistakes women make in relationships is thinking that sharing everything with a man is a sign of love. Telling him every thought, every plan, every single detail of what you're about to do, as if the more transparent you are, the more valuable you become. But here's the truth: the moment a man can predict you, he stops pursuing you. He stops wondering what you're capable of. And when a man stops wondering, he stops working. Let me break it down. Think about the things that excite us in life: opportunities, challenges, goals. What drives us is the unknown, the chase, the uncertainty of whether we can have it, win it, achieve it. That same principle applies in relationships. When you tell a man your next move before you even take it, you strip away the mystery. You take away the spark that fuels his curiosity. And curiosity is what makes him lean in, what makes him want to know more, do more, and stay invested. I'm not saying you should live a secret life or play manipulative games. No. What I'm saying is you must protect your plans. If you're working on your career, let him see the results, not the blueprint. If you're planning a move for your personal growth, let him witness the transformation, not the step-by-step manual. Because a woman who shows her results instead of her roadmap commands more respect. Here's why: when you reveal your next move too soon, you invite opinions, criticism, and sometimes even control. A man who knows exactly what you're about to do might try to influence it, slow it down, or even take credit for it. But when you hold your cards close, when you move in silence, he has no choice but to respect what you've already accomplished. He sees the finished product, not the draft, and the finished product always has more power. Some women confuse openness with strength. They believe that telling a man everything shows loyalty, but what it really shows is predictability. And predictability is the death of attraction. Men thrive when they feel like they're still discovering you. They thrive when they can't quite pin you down, when you remain a little unpredictable, when you keep him on his toes. That's what makes him think, what is she going to do next? How did she pull that off? How can I keep up with her? See, when you hide your next move, you're not being dishonest, you're being strategic. You're teaching him that you are not fully accessible, not fully readable, not fully controllable. You're reminding him that you are a force on your own, and if he wants to be part of your life, he better keep up with your pace. And let me tell you this: the woman who reveals less is the woman who is valued more. Why? Because scarcity creates value. Mystery creates desire. When he doesn't know everything, he stays curious. When he stays curious, he stays present. And when he stays present, he invests more into keeping you close. So ladies, stop handing over your playbook. Stop giving a man the privilege of knowing your every move before you make it. Let him earn the right to witness your progress. Let him admire the results of your growth, your power, and your decisions. Because the less he knows about your next step, the more he'll respect the step you take. That's how you keep a man pursuing you, not by telling him where you're going, but by letting him watch you arrive. A woman's weakness is sacred. It is not something to be handed over casually, not something to be exposed every time you feel an emotion rise up. When you constantly reveal the depth of your fears, your insecurities, or your struggles, you might think you're being transparent. You might even think you're deepening the connection. But what you're really doing is teaching a man to take your strength for granted. And when a man starts to take your strength for granted, he slowly starts to take you for granted. There's a difference between being vulnerable and being powerless. Vulnerability is powerful when it's shared intentionally. It shows depth, humanity, and trust. But weakness, when constantly put on display, starts to sound like dependency, and dependency never builds respect. Because the truth is, respect isn't given to someone who needs saving every moment. Respect is given to someone who can stand, even when she's trembling. Think about it. If every time you feel uncertain, you run to him and expose all of your worries, all of your fears, all of your doubts, he no longer sees you as the strong woman he once admired. He starts to view you as fragile, as someone who can't handle life without leaning on him at every turn. And here's the danger: when a man no longer sees strength in you, he begins to lose admiration for you. Admiration is the seed of attraction, and without it, desire begins to fade. That doesn't mean you should lock your heart away or never share your struggles. Of course, a healthy relationship requires honesty and trust. But wisdom is knowing how much to reveal and when to reveal it. You don't need to show him every bruise the moment it forms. You don't need to tell him every fear the moment it crosses your mind. Sometimes you need to hold your silence, breathe through it, and let him see that you are capable of standing on your own 2 feet. Because here's what happens when you hide certain weaknesses: he watches you fight battles he never knew you were fighting. He sees the strength in your silence. And when you finally choose to share a struggle, it carries weight. It matters. He leans in because he knows you don't hand out your vulnerability carelessly. He listens because he knows if you're opening up, it's important. That's how you get a man's respect. You make your weakness a choice, not a constant broadcast. Women who constantly beg for reassurance create exhaustion in a man. But women who carry themselves with quiet resilience create admiration. He starts to see you as someone he cannot easily shake, someone whose strength comes from within, not from his validation. And the truth is, when a man knows you can stand without him, that's when he fights harder to stand with you. Remember this: weakness shown in moderation deepens love. Weakness shown without boundaries drains it. You are not required to expose every wound for him to believe in your loyalty. You are required to protect parts of yourself so he never loses sight of your strength. Because the moment you stop guarding your weakness, you give him permission to treat you like you are fragile glass instead of the diamond you truly are. So don't hand him the power to define your strength by exposing every crack. Let him see your light more than your shadows. And when the time is right, let him into your struggles, not because you need saving, but because you've already saved yourself. That's how a man respects not just the woman he's with, but the warrior she really is. Emotions are powerful, but the moment you hand them over without filter, you strip yourself of control. A woman who wears every single feeling on her sleeve, who reacts to every little thing, who shows a man her full emotional deck. She leaves nothing for him to wonder about, nothing for him to chase, nothing for him to respect. And the truth is, when a man can read you like an open book, he stops turning the pages. A man is drawn to what he cannot fully understand. He is intrigued by the parts of you he can't quite reach, the feelings you don't fully express, the emotions you allow him to sense, but not completely grasp. That tension, that space between what he sees and what he doesn't, is where attraction lies. When you reveal everything, when you pour out every reaction, every insecurity, every piece of your heart without restraint, you remove that space. You make yourself predictable. And predictability is where effort dies. Think about the difference between a spark and a flood. A spark excites, it catches attention, it burns just enough to keep you engaged, to make you want more. But a flood overwhelms. It drowns everything until there's no shape, no form, no reason to keep watching. That's what happens when you let every emotion spill out in front of a man. Instead of drawing him closer, you drown the mystery. Instead of sparking desire, you overwhelm his interest. Now, this doesn't mean you have to become cold, detached, or emotionless. It doesn't mean you have to fake strength or silence yourself completely. What it means is balance. You must know what to show and what to hold back. A man doesn't need to know every time you're upset. He doesn't need to feel the weight of every thought running through your mind. Sometimes, silence is more powerful than 1,000 words. Sometimes, walking away calmly speaks louder than crying, yelling, or over-explaining. Here's the secret: the emotions you choose to hide will often make the emotions you choose to show more impactful. If you rarely reveal anger, then when you finally do, he'll know it's serious. If you rarely reveal tears, then when you allow yourself to cry, it will carry weight. If you rarely reveal disappointment, then when you express it, he will pay attention. By guarding parts of your emotional world, you create value in the moments you choose to open it. And let's be honest, a woman who knows how to master her emotions, instead of letting them master her, commands respect. She is not a puppet to her feelings. She is not tossed around by every mood. She is steady, intentional, and powerful. That steadiness is what makes a man chase her. That steadiness is what makes him realize she doesn't lose herself for me. She doesn't collapse just because of me. She holds herself with dignity. The danger of giving a man complete access to your emotions is that he may begin to use them against you. If he knows exactly what triggers you, exactly how to make you cry, exactly how to get under your skin, he gains control. But when you keep some emotions guarded, when you maintain that mystery, he has nothing to manipulate. He is left guessing, wondering, working harder to understand you. And the more he has to work, the more invested he becomes. So don't give him the whole map of your heart. Don't let him know every corner, every pathway, every secret room. Keep some of it for yourself. Let him earn access, little by little, through consistency, effort, and respect. Because the woman who reveals everything loses her power, but the woman who reveals selectively keeps him chasing forever. That's how you keep a man leaning in. Not by flooding him with every emotion, but by letting him feel just enough to know there's always more to discover. One of the most dangerous mistakes a woman can make in a relationship is showing a man everything she has to offer up front: her resources, her money, her network, her wisdom, even her ability to fix his problems before he even thinks of solving them himself. At first, it may feel like love. It may feel like generosity. You tell yourself, if I give him all of me, if I show him everything I can provide, he'll see my value and never let me go. But that's not how it works. Because what's fully accessible is easily taken for granted. What's always available loses its power. A man is wired to value what he cannot fully possess. When you expose all of your resources, when you make everything you've worked for completely available to him, you remove the sense of privilege he should feel to even have access to you. Instead of appreciating your strength, he begins to lean on it. Instead of being inspired by your independence, he begins to depend on it. And when a man starts depending more on your resources than his own effort, the respect he has for you begins to fade. See, the goal is not to hide your blessings or pretend you don't have them. The goal is to protect them. You don't have to let a man know the full extent of your finances. You don't have to let him know every connection you've built, every door you can open, every string you can pull. Because the moment you show it all, he stops wondering. And when he stops wondering, he stops trying. Think of it this way: a diamond loses its worth the second it's treated like a pebble. The only reason people value diamonds is because they are rare, they are protected, they are not found in every hand. Your resources, your wisdom, your time, your skills, your network, your wealth, they are your diamonds. And the man who is worthy of you should never get them just because he exists. He should get them because he's proven he can handle them. Some women confuse giving with loving. They think the more they give, the more secure they'll be in a man's heart. But love is not measured by how much you sacrifice of yourself. It's measured by how much you respect yourself while giving. If you give away every resource, every asset, every ounce of energy to a man who hasn't earned it, you're not showing love, you're showing desperation. And desperation always kills attraction. Here's the truth: a man values what he has to work for. If he sees you as a woman who can fix everything, fund everything, open every door for him, he no longer sees himself as the provider, the problem solver, or the protector. He starts to feel unnecessary, and that will either make him weak or resentful. But when you hold back, when you let him figure things out on his own, When you show that you are capable but not willing to be used, he has no choice but to rise to the level of your standards. A woman who knows her resources are powerful keeps them guarded. She reveals them slowly, strategically, and only to the man who proves he won't abuse them. She doesn't throw everything into his lap hoping he'll stay. She makes him earn the privilege of accessing the fullness of what she brings. And because he had to work for it, he values it more. So don't lay out your entire treasure chest. Don't show him every gem you carry. Protect what you have, reveal it with wisdom, and give it only to the man who has proven himself worthy. Because the woman who gives a man everything without boundaries teaches him to expect everything without effort. But the woman who guards her resources teaches him to respect not only what she has, but who she is. Independence is the one thing a woman should never fully surrender to a man, no matter how much she loves him. Because the moment he believes you need him to survive, the balance of the relationship shifts. Love should be a choice, not a requirement for your existence. A man respects a woman far more when he knows she is with him because she wants to be, not because she has to be. Too many women confuse dependence with devotion. They think if they hand over their decision-making, their freedom, their ability to move through life on their own terms, that somehow it will make a man feel more secure. But what it actually does is the opposite. It makes him lose respect. Because a man does not value what is entirely under his control. He values what stands strong on its own, what he cannot fully own, what he knows he must continue to work for. When a woman hides her independence, she protects her strength. She protects the truth that she can walk away at any moment, not out of anger or manipulation, but because she knows she is whole without him. That knowledge changes everything. Because a man who understands that you don't need him will always fight harder to be the man you want. Think about the most magnetic women you've ever seen. They are not women who cling desperately, waiting for permission to breathe. They are women who carry themselves like they could walk into any room and be just fine on their own. That confidence, that independence, it commands respect. And when a man sees it, it does two things. It challenges him and it inspires him. It challenges him to step up because he knows you're not relying on him for survival. And it inspires him to keep proving himself worthy because he knows you could leave if you ever stopped feeling valued. Now let me be clear, independence doesn't mean shutting him out. It doesn't mean acting like you don't need love, affection, or partnership. It means you maintain your own identity within the relationship. It means you don't let your entire sense of worth revolve around him. You still have your goals, your passions, your friends, your ability to stand on your own 2 feet. That's what keeps you powerful. And here's the irony: men are often more loyal, more invested, more protective of the woman they know can live without them. Why? Because they know she stays by choice, not by force. They know her presence is not guaranteed, and that makes them work to keep it. On the other hand, when a woman gives up all her independence, when she makes him the center of her world, and shows she cannot function without him, he begins to take her for granted. He starts to feel that she will always be there, no matter what, and that kind of certainty kills effort. So don't ever let a man think your independence is negotiable. Don't let him feel like he is your only source of strength, stability, or happiness. Because if he believes that, he'll stop giving, he'll stop trying. But when he knows you're whole on your own, he'll keep showing up to prove that he deserves to share that wholeness with you. The truth is simple. A woman who chooses to stay is far more powerful than a woman who has no choice but to stay. Love is powerful, but it's also one of the easiest things to misuse when it's poured out without boundaries. A woman's love can be the most healing force in a man's life, but it can also become the very reason he stops valuing her if she gives it without restraint. The moment a man feels certain, completely certain, that no matter what he does, you will always be there, always forgive, always stay, he loses the urgency to cherish you. Because what is guaranteed is never fully appreciated. A man should never know the full depth of your love. Not because you don't feel it, not because you're withholding it, but because love is most powerful when it's measured. When he has to wonder, does she love me as much as I love her? Does she feel the same fire I do? That question keeps him invested. That uncertainty makes him lean in. It drives him to pursue you, to fight for you, to protect what he doesn't fully believe he owns. The danger of exposing the entire extent of your love is that it often gives him permission to relax. If he knows you love him with every ounce of your being, and you show it in every action, every word, every sacrifice, he may stop putting in the same effort. He might start thinking, she's already all in, so I don't need to work as hard. And once effort dies, the relationship begins to wither. Not because the love isn't there, but because respect can't survive without effort. This doesn't mean you should be cold, withholding, or manipulative. It means you should give love with balance. Show him affection, support him, stand by him, but don't let him feel that your entire world revolves around him. Don't let him believe that your identity, your joy, and your purpose exist only through him. Because when he believes that, he stops fearing the loss of you. And when a man stops fearing the loss of you, he stops fighting to keep you. A woman who knows how to love deeply, but still keeps part of herself reserved, is a woman who holds power. She reminds him, even in silence, I love you, but I can survive without you. I care for you, but I don't need you to breathe. That balance forces him to show up. It forces him to keep pursuing you, because he knows your love is not guaranteed, it's earned every day. And here's the truth: men fall hardest for the women they feel they could lose. Not because they want to lose them, but because the thought of it keeps their effort alive. When he feels like your love is endless, unconditional, no matter what he does, he stops valuing it. But when he feels like your love is deep yet protected, he treats it like a treasure. He guards it. He works for it. He never stops trying to deserve it. So don't show him the full depth of your love all at once. Let him feel it in pieces. Let him earn it through his actions. Let him work to uncover it layer by layer. Because the man who has to keep pursuing your heart is the man who never stops appreciating it. The woman who gives just enough love to inspire effort, but never so much that it removes the mystery, will always keep a man chasing.